This is my review of the Ghostbusters Afterlife movie. My son and I saw this movie over Thanksgiving break. We saw it in the theater, and it was nice to be back in the theater again. They were closed down there for a while. Yeah, we are big Ghostbusters movie fans. I think it's safe to say everybody remembers the original, first Ghostbusters movie, debuted in 1984. Had that famous Ghostbusters theme song. Then there was Ghostbusters 2, 5 years later in 1989. It's pretty much same cast. And I did not know this, but in the mid-90s they were actually working on a Ghostbusters 3 movie, but they ran into budget problems and Bill Murray pulled out of it and it just never materialized. And then in 2016 there was the reboot with the all-female cast. Alright, so there's just a bunch of background information for everyone. So Ghostbusters Afterlife is the sequel to Ghostbusters 1 and 2. And interesting to note, it was directed by Jason Reitman, the son of Ivan Reitman, who produced the first two Ghostbusters movies. It was released in November 2021, which is basically 30 years later. So that's a pretty long time for a sequel. Is it worth it? Well, let's find out. It stars Logan Kim, Celeste O'Connor, Carrie Coon, Paul Rudd, Finn Wolfhard, and McKenna Grace. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson briefly reprised their roles from the original film. Sadly, Harold Ramis passed away in 2014, though he does make an appearance in spirit. The plot. 32 years after stopping the evil spirit Vigo in New York, the Ghostbusters crew have since disbanded. Egon Spengler has relocated to a house and farm in the rural town of Somerville, Oklahoma, near the location of an ancient Gozerian mine site. Egon's involvement with the mine results in his death at the very beginning of the movie. Callie, Egon's daughter, and her two children, Trevor and Phoebe, happen to get evicted from their city apartment and subsequently move to Egon's farm, which he left to Callie in his will. Trevor gets a job at the local diner and meets a local girl named Lucky. Phoebe is enrolled in a summer science class at the local middle school. Her teacher is an eccentric seismologist named Mr. Gruberson. At home, Phoebe discovers her grandfather's house is haunted. An unseen ghost leads her to a hidden room in the basement that contains all Egon's paranormal works and equipment. Realizing the ghost directing her is her grandfather, Phoebe restores the Ghostbusters proton packs under his direction. Trevor finds the dilapidated Ecto-1 station wagon from the original movie in the garage and repairs it. Didn't know he was a mechanic, but hey, that's cool. Mr. Gruberson explains that the town has been experiencing strange earthquakes and he has been trying to get to the bottom of it. Mr. Gruberson, Phoebe, and her friend Podcast tamper with a ghost trap and a bestial entity escapes and flees to the Gozerian mine. Trevor, Phoebe, Lucky, and Podcast follow and find a temple dedicated to the ancient demon Gozer inside the mine. And they also find a device Egon built to contain Gozer, which happens to be causing the earthquakes. Gozer's minions, the Keymaster and Gatekeeper, recall those lovely pooches from the first movie, escape the mine and find Mr. Gruberson and Callie and possess them. They look like that now. They head to the mine and destroy Egon's security devices, which allows Gozer to manifest and release all the evil spirits. They flee the mine to Egon's farm, and an exciting proton-streaming battle to save the world ensues. Ultimately, demons are trapped and everything works out, with a little help from the original Ghostbusters. It all kind of wraps up nicely. If you're a fan of the first two Ghostbuster movies, you definitely have to see this. You'll most likely like it. They did a good job of connecting the originals to this one. As a standalone movie, it's fun and entertaining. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars.